Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
One of the things that I see that is so common among depressed people is that they hold to what they know with such certainty. And that ends up being a prison of their own design. This is a problem, because it trains your brain to only go one way, even if you know it's wrong for you. It's like those old school games where you can only go one path and the rest are just graphics. So the more sure you are about the things that you know, the smaller the path will be, and the more suffocating it will be for you. But if you ingest more information before drawing conclusions, your horizons will open and give you the space you need to solve the problems you have, instead of triggering more depressive episodes. And this also teaches you to be more patient with yourself. And that will lower your feelings of loneliness. Because if you have this part of you that understands yourself, you stop seeking it so much in others. And you start to feel less lonely when you are alone. And now, this advice is directed at perfectionists. You won't know everything all the time. No one does, and that's fine. Living in a do-or-die state, it actually stops you from growing. One example for this is criticizing yourself for not doing something, instead of asking why didn't I do it and how can I make it easier for yourself. Learning a new thing about yourself, a new tactic you can use in order to solve your future problems and avoid the same thing happen in the future. We are flawed by nature, so mistakes are bound to happen. It's your choice to see it as a learning opportunity or a reason to criticize yourself. This is one of the ways how drawing conclusions too fast can hurt yourself. So simply learn to give time before drawing conclusions, especially if you are depressed. Because if you are depressed, you don't have the energy for it and you don't need to know what's gonna come. It's actually much more important to allow yourself to rest. So when the problems do come, you have the energy to solve them. And actually taking a step forward instead of the usual self-pity, torture, and bitterness. Life's hard already. No point in making harder for yourself. It's much better to make it easier for yourself, because if your life becomes easier, you have more energy to spend on other areas of your life. Now let's look at how this kind of thinking can impact your environment. For example, how living with the absolute mindset, it can be exactly what's sabotaging your life. Feeding thoughts like, I'm gonna be alone, or I will fail, or there's no point in doing that, is like carrying weights everywhere with you and then complaining that's too heavy. It's your choice to live like that. I'm not saying you are wrong, but there's a big difference between defining a result before it actually happens and being able to adapt to various results depending on which point you are at. And being able to see beyond your own point of view, it's actually where you see a path out of your depression. Because if you assume it as an absolute event in your life, that's exactly what's going to happen with you. One example I can give you is something that I've seen countless times, and that is when someone says, my job sucks and I will never go anywhere. By being frustrated, work will feel much heavier, making your daily growth lower, and therefore making your prediction come true. It's like tripping yourself and then being proud because you are right. And going through this whole process of emotions and still not solving anything. Like, what can I do to change that? Is there any job I'm happier with? And if there is, how can I get to it? It's your choice to stay stuck in obstacles like this. And if you are so sure about outcomes that don't help you, you will start making steps towards that result. And if you hope to get out of depression, you have to allow your environment to be more malleable and less predictable. Your mind literally defines your reality, and how you think defines your results. And this is one of the ways that the poor stay poor. They will always complain about everything and not solve a thing, repeating this month after month and blaming everyone else, when the only thing you can truly change is yourself. And this is one of the keys for true safety and security in life, because you can't predict everything. No one can. But if you keep your mind malleable and flexible, you have a much better chance of coming up with new solutions and adapt much faster, making the bad times be smaller. So this concept I'm explaining to you doesn't have to be something you do on the side to solve your depression. It can also help solve your life. Not just the economical side, but also your relationships, which I will talk about next. And I'll show you 2 ways where this can happen. One situation is believing your happiness is achieved only one way. And if it isn't that, you discard the possibilities completely, even if you find a very compatible person with yourself. And this is a very big mistake for 2 reasons. One, you base your happiness on the notions of others and not based on your personal experience. Like, there are people that like to travel and party, but they are also the same ones who have to clean up after, and not everyone likes it. And the other reason is you pick your relationships based on your ideals only, completely forgetting about the other person and making them just a tool only, and allowing yourself to be lonelier as time passes, sabotaging your present and future relationships. After all, why have a relationship if it's just you that's gonna make all the decisions? And the other way you can sabotage yourself is pre-relationship. Like, if you assume everyone you're gonna meet is gonna disappoint you, you won't make an effort to cultivate the relationship. And no one with self-respect or worth is gonna be there giving continuously without getting anything back. So this is quite a good example of how you think defines if you find the right or the wrong people. This is why so many relationships fail, because we never ask if we are making the relationship easier to happen. I can admit that myself. Another way in which not making assumptions can help you, by you not thinking absolutes, your relationship becomes less conflictual. Because the more sure you are about what you know, the more likely you will impose on others. And that's a recipe to either be arguing or end up alone. No one wants that. I'm not saying you have to agree with them, but you don't have to fight with them either. And not assume your knowledge as 100% true above everyone else helps avoid these kind of situations. Giving yourself time to recharge and making the experience of being with you better. You also gain much more knowledge from being social than being alone, because you have a lot more examples to learn from without costing you anything. If you look at the grand scenario, we are just a bunch of humans stuck in a rock. We don't even know 1% of what's out there. We just assume we do. And if we ever hope to be more, we need to learn how to work together and not fight about every little thing. Otherwise, our life will never improve. You can either be right or be okay. Pick one.